Yeah. So we did that after part of the year.
You don't have to make it yet. I got nominated.
Right? I just found out. I was talking to her. Who else do we need?
Marissa, that will be the last one. And not he, no, he wasn't there
It
yet.
was June.
Okay.
That's why I had to go to.
Shall we? Welcome back, everybody. Good to be here. We're going to start with a roll call.
Neil Malone,
Kara Riley.
Adrienne McGinnis.
Emily Kaiser.
Mark Evans.
All righty. Let's stand up for the, oh wait, do we want to? Out there.
Do the big one.
All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Elect board officers. As we all know, Jeff Honeycutt went back to just being the new board officers. Does anyone want to put forth a nomination?
I'd like to nominate you, Dr. Riley, for
Well,
board
thanks.
chair.
For the vice president. All right. Anybody else? Nope. Okay. Aye. All opposed? All right. Let's move on to the district update. Dr. Roberts, what you got?
For some of our staff to come up after I go through these. I provided an analysis of the learns. How they impact us. And so that information really is, teacher salaries have helped us tremendously, waiving that, that ability to actually go with the salary schedule. That increase really helped incentivize. The private school voucher does not really impact us at all. Increase in our enrollment because that does pay for transportation for students if they want to leave a school. It's schools and charter schools, we're always looking for those opportunities. So that's real encouragement for us. Hopefully we'll gain more partnerships with some of our. We've already had that. We've had a waiver for that. The literacy standards and career readiness. We are already working at how our literacy standards, and the principal will talk about that shortly, but how we're going to make sure that we have all of our students. Incredible win for us. However, that will increase our competition. So we have to sort of be mindful of that there is more support. Criteria, that is, will have some immediate impact starting with our ninth grade. So with the LEARNS Act, that will require students to have to complete community service for graduation. So the ninth grade starts this year with 15, and then they progress 20 every. We'll talk about how the counselors are going to manage that when she speaks. We're going to, there's some curriculum, and then some of the retention piece with the literacy is that so our goal is heavily to ensure that they are on grade level at third grade. So we want to make sure through school on time. There is a course choice program, meaning that if they to have at the C or C to F schools, they were able to go and locate that course somewhere else, and that particular amount of funding will follow them. AP and some of our concurrent classes that we've just acquired this year. The high impact tutoring. What that does mean is that schools that have a high need and a lot of students that are not on grade level, the department will fund a tutor. We are already working on our comprehensive school safety assessment. We did one last year, and we are getting training. Drill, and all of the staff in June did training for their mandated youth mental health first aid class. So we are already preparing and looking at data to evaluate how we're going to address and we're also going to look at how do we use our coaches. If you remember, we hired some coaches to really address low within literacy. And then math, the same thing. Both the literacy and math are in our school improvement plan. The effect far right column is really the impact it will have on us. The act concerning use of physical force, it's only in a case of a police department or someone who assists if we get into that situation where a kid is needing some sort of restraint. That's our last resort. The mental health awareness, it is required that it's the full week in May. I've listed the date. Maltreatment, this is immediate. So also you are to report as a mandated reporter, we report any student that's on our campus regardless of what their age is. Holocaust, that's for through Holocaust education. We'll update you when that gets a little bit closer about what that looks like in the curriculum and how students will 317, and that's the bathroom regulations. That does not impact us. We've been practicing that. Basically what this act is saying is they cannot go into a multi-stall bathroom of the opposite gender. Two at a time. That's against our school policy regardless. The part about we could think of was the space camp, and parents traditionally go with students, or there's a good parent ratio there. Questions. The obscene materials, we don't have any books that are considered obscene or harmful. Have a active list of their directories that parents can preview if needed, but we don't have that. If we would have a me, and then to the board if I felt like it was in disagreement.
Right now, isn't that sort of in limbo because of this?
A lot of this, that the regulations and rules have not come out.
Yeah.
And so I feel like we're in a really good spot when we don't have those situations already. Looks like, and what is determined to be obscene or harmful. I've not seen the language on what exactly that looks like. But we've got two based on what they have in their classroom. So it's just an extension of what they're already reading or research or things like that. We use a lot of online resources. The implicit bias training, we don't have any kind of training to such degree. Another sort of hot topic, we've had this in place. The only thing this will inform parents the fact that we cannot change if the student wants to be called a different pronoun, or if the student wants to be called a different name, they just need parent permission. And, but they also have to know that we cannot legally change an ID badge or anything that's their simple excused absences to vote. We just need a parent letter. Adoption awareness. So options of adoption. And there is some concerning conversations about abortion. Again, that language is. But that will be in grades 6 through 12 in their health class. Breastfeeding education, again, that will go into their health. Have an impact on this because students are able to work at 16. We never required a work permit. If their grades were in distress and we felt like maybe they were working more than they probably should in order to graduate, but we that's kind of a quick overview. Do you guys have any questions or concerns?
We're gonna.
What we're gonna do is, Ms. Morgan's gonna talk to you about her student packet for enrollment, and that will be an inclusion part, or probably a link.
But what
To all.
about existing students, not just enrolling?
Anybody,
Everybody?
we have to have it on record.
Okay.
Yeah.
And our website so parents can, no one will think of it until some part of this is an issue for them. So it might be helpful for school members to be able to.
The documents?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
that'd be
sure.
great.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I hope that parents are at ease with that because, yeah. Districts. Back to school dates, you were given, some information on the flyer when our back. Where they wouldn't overlap as much as possible. And, at these back to school dates, they're gonna vary. paperwork that they need, and we're gonna do a much better job at tracking that as it comes back to us. But, please feel free to us. The teacher development schedule, I am questioning if it got in there. Our teachers come back on, the new teacher tour on Wednesday, tomorrow. And, so that's open to any brand new teacher to our district or so we're bringing them early because we got.
Required or not required?
It's not required, but we will pay them. A lot of the feedback we got just get the nuts and bolts so I can get a tour, I better understand things versus being pushed in the first day with the whole district. So and that kind of is going to help drive the agenda for tomorrow. The entire district comes back on Thursday. Tie-dye t-shirts as a whole district. Then we're going to go through, we'll review the strategic sites and do more professional development there. And then next week, we're going to do safety training. We bring in a company. And Mark and I were at, they are going to come and do some safety training, and they're going to do some active shooter in their classroom to keep students protected. So just some different strategies on how to, what's available in their classrooms, how to train them. So, and then after that, the staff is going to work on their back to schools and manage their PLCs. Some of our PBIS, some of our, what I'm trying to say, our social and incentivize good behavior and try to address counseling needs first rather than discipline. So the staff's going to get trained on that. So we've got for back to school. The custodial kitchen update, I'm going to pause that, and Charity's going to speak about both of those things at the same time, but it's gone incredibly well. The custodial crew, we've got 2 leads, one at each. What we had before with SSC. The floors, like I said, I've never ever seen them this clean. They're beautiful. And time it where everyone's got a particular role and we're not overlapping, we're not wasting materials, we're not our kitchen, Charity's been ferociously hiring and training, and she's got some updates about what she's going to do. It was very telling. We learned a lot as they exited of why this was a very wise decision. So that was and trying to figure out what's our best option as far as lease to purchase, and really looking at making some smart choices. And then last but not least, we were awarded the Stronger Connections grant, which really thrilled of May with a June 9th submission date. And the grant itself is really about mental and emotional space that they can learn in, but they also can feel comfortable with their social relationships. purchasing some programs that will help us do some universal screening. So rolling all kids through just a general universal screener. Indicators of the need for counseling or one-on-one time with an adult and those kind of things, and that will escalate. And how do we Ms. Foster's going to talk about that in a minute, about how we also communicate with the counselors and the nurses, because some of that time's over. Specialists to bring them on staff. So that will be additional hand for the counseling department. And if Ms. Foster, if you want to come up. In the counseling program and department. We've got some amazing work happening within our counseling program.
So these are just kind of a list of what we've been working on so far and what we have and how we're moving forward. So some of the things we've been doing are, and I'll talk a little bit more about the Stronger Connections grant in a minute too, is we've done those in the past. We've tried to do them in the past, and some of them were more successful than others. So we have the NWAC financial, and we will get those pushed out and information about those. They are through. Nothing else was on the calendar, and as the guest speakers could also come in. So it's not going to be set in stone like it was last year. What dates we set and events we plan, just for parents who may or may not be able to come during. Set up a Zoom link ahead of time and then push them out as the recording. So if someone can't attend, they can reach out to them. We'll probably end up sending it whole school for juniors and seniors parents. With She is our college and career counselor, sorry. And so she has been setting up which is super exciting. I'm very excited about that. We're going to have, we're kind of working out details about our community partners with community partners that we have a relationship with. Reached out to us, and some we've reached out to set up a partnership, and we're hoping that on where they might want to do their community service hours, but also exposing the students 9 through 12 as for internship opportunities, for maybe community-based learning classes that we're hoping to kind of get underway. Candidates for our behavioral health specialist, and that will be a position through the Stronger Connections grant that is just have some really good candidates and hope to have one chosen and in the process of underway adding them to us by the end of the week. For social emotional learning, and that again comes under our Stronger Connections grant, and we have some of the possible programs that we have vetted and gone through demos and things. and heads up checkup. I don't know if you've ever heard of those, but if you would like for me to kind of walk through those, they all have very different and has a universal screener for red flags for students who might need mental health support, but we are unaware. Our time spent to make sure that we are using it correctly in the manner in which the state requires us to use it. Service hours, our student success plans, things like that. And Heads Up Checkup is one of the universal screeners. Navigate emotional learning tools, procedures that I cannot go on and on enough about this one. It works mode and method and structure. It also has interventions. So if a student is, it has interventions for failing grades. And so you can assign them individually as students need them. There are up to 10. And then the really great resource that we're hoping kind of encompasses the backbone of what our counseling department needs. Partners coming to open house to set up informational tables, and we're looking forward to that. Yeah, and we'll push those out in our counseling newsletter, probably even at open house. We hope to have a table and so that students and parents can pick that up and take them with them discreetly, things like that. But having it sort of kind of a big task. It's a lot. So I'm so excited about the NWAC week have increased by like 4 or 5. I just enrolled one today. Even so, we are offering We're also offering the math, which is the quantitative reasoning and college algebra, and those students are just really going to benefit from having a face-to-face class, but it's through NWAC and pulled and researched through scholarships and things to where those are now completely free for our students. My Learning Lab fee of like $84, but it's the digital textbook and then basically like a self-guided digital different problems to work out, things like that. So we are so excited about that. We have uploaded 24 and our 2023-24 comprehensive counseling plan, and those are posted to our website. And then we have our first year where we just parents to kind of dictate the flow of the conversation. We had a couple of activities to spark conversations, things like that. And that is yes, ma'am.
I have 2 questions. I'm going to ask the easy one first. What are the pre-reqs for the concurrent classes?
It is set through and GPA and ACT scores. So as far as our requirements, we kind of Usually it's for juniors and seniors. We have had some students to do it, to enter in as sophomores. It's really NWAC's requirements, and then we put our stamp of approval. We just limit the amount of classes that he or they take. Not had a student, there's probably maybe a couple that haven't been able to get gain admission to through some classes, and they had failing grades. So it's really pretty open to most of our population.
What their role is gonna be? Are they gonna be providing one-on-one counseling? What's their job?
I'm glad you mentioned that, because mainly what we hope to find someone qualified to do is to do mobile assessments here on our campus. Suicidal ideations, or had them, or talks about it, something like that. Our protocol was to immediately a mental health evaluation, if you will, and of course that was off campus and leaving them to miss school. On our campus and alleviate that, or support that and send them directly where they might. Another major part of their position will be as specialists, going in and observing behaviors. We'll share, kindly share. Probably more in the elementary on that aspect, but going in and observing behavior and then coming up with a behavior modification plan. Like that to change behavior. And then doing kind of small groups and more to some of the situations that arise. And it's some of the younger population here on our campus, and some of helping to, again, bridge the campuses as well, and doing some maybe more guidance lessons-ish in the
board meetings.
I would absolutely see that if it's appropriate, if it's someone that person to an additional support staff for that person. Absolutely, yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Is that? Yes, to the best of our kind of prediction on what we will need, and using the, back. Anything
Is
else?
this grant guaranteed for 1 year? Like we have this person for 1 year and then? So this grant is for 1 year. For us, in my opinion, the reason we got this grant is we had such a high number of counselor visits and so many severe minority absenteeism with some of our surrounding districts.
Did they look at
And
how many
we-
days they were missing?
In relative terms, with some of the intense needs we experienced last year. And so this is a new thing, but all about how we follow up in the data and the mid-reporting on all that kind of stuff. So
And that's some of the, sorry to interrupt, but that's some of the reasoning for the behavior specialist would be tracked by SCUDA, that data, and also for the heads up checkup to see what our needs are. And that doesn't surprise, I didn't know that about Rogers, but that doesn't surprise me. But
So I guess the question was, is this a renewable grant?
I'm not familiar.
I don't even know. I mean,
Okay.
they don't even know. They haven't told us. Yes.
And I will be the first to volunteer to find other grants or figure out.
Too is we needed to have a community partner, and so we partnered with Baden on this. And one of the reasons with Baden is, and I was actually taught a class that had to do with the community service, community partnerships. And that's a part that we could use training on. Using and see how this works, and then we're going to learn from them about how we involve community partnerships for specific projects.
The specialist communicate with parents, like
Yes.
when there's a small group selected or intervention, like will the
Yes.
specialist?
And our interview process is how do you handle, tough conversations with parents like that? Because it's not for everyone and it's a delicate situation.
Navigate 360, have you looked at that for security purposes?
I have not.
Do we use a different?
And I haven't had a chance yet to sit down with Dr. Roberts, but that Navigate 360, no, thank you.
Yes,
Put them
yes,
together. I can show you Navigate 360 if you.
that'd be great.
Ms. McDowell used it at Baden too, so.
Just go, and we're trying to use it till its fullest. It was better than the program before. It's not perfect. Alerts us to the mental health needs just as much as the safety and intruder needs. So that's part of our entrance in. I'm going to bump in two more things while I still have your ears. One thing is that I think you will, and the community will like, we just mostly been sort of an alert system, kind of giving you some information. That is offered through Apogee, who manages system, and so it's going to be additional information on that app. So it's going to be able to two-way message parents to teachers immediately. Students, or not students, to certain parents, or provide a lot more information. You'll be able to look at your class. And you can click on it and loop right to their classroom, and so it's kind of a one-stop shop. It will also link into our hack. You can go right into their. Oh, great.
I have a question. Do not throw tomatoes at me. Does that mean that we can finally do a
Yes.
when I had 3 kids on 2 campuses, I was like, I have no idea where all of these messages are coming from, and it got to be
Class Dojo. Although it's great and it keeps points, there's a similar program in here where they can still track points. It's going to be it also translates immediately, so a teacher can text in English and it instantly translates in Spanish, and then vice versa. So with them Friday or Monday. So as soon as we have the information, we'll get it all out to parents. It's going to be fantastic. Last weekend, and it was amazing. We were prepared. Translate Marshallese, so we had all of our information translated. Full staff was there to support in shifts, and it was amazing. Erin and Katie did an arts integration that was really applicable to the culture and in a community that is arts oriented. And I don't know how it will boost our enrollment, but we do know we have one more. But we want to embrace the community and be accepting. So anyway, that's the most recent district update.
Members of the board, Dr. Roberts. And it's been wonderful. I mean, that, I thought it might be useful for you to have a copy of what we're going to have at our open house. And starting with a smaller group and making sure we nurture and take care. Very helpful sometimes to start with a smaller group and feel acclimated. I know Dr. Langley did that for me and Dr. Roberts, so it's very helpful. And so we actually have 2 days of open houses at the high school. So we're emphasizing on Monday the 14th. You may have seen it on our live feed. 7th and 8th grade students, kind of giving them that protected opportunity and time, and also for any new enrollee student. So it'll be a small and we're excited about having them there. And here's a copy of the packets that will be available for all the parents. I thought you might want one. I just want to tell you about a neat process that we're going to do with them to try to encourage them to explore all the different pieces of our open house. So if you notice on the front, we're up here in the commons area. So they're going to navigate through the different stations and that at the open house, and then they're going to have a punch card, and that's a sample punch if they make it to all the different stations here. But what we're trying to encourage them is to engage with completing their free and reduced lunch forms. The packet is a punch. After they complete their punch card, they'll go upstairs, they'll get their Chromebook. Demographic, thank you. We need them to update their demographics. So we're going to have their most recent sheet with them available with some red pens. Put their name, phone number, t-shirt size, and be entered into a drawing. So that would give them some incentive for that. We ultimately so all teachers will be here at open house because it's 7th and 8th as well as any new enrollee. And we have new enrollees in about packet. You don't have to look at it all right now. And if you see anything that's missing, you need to call it to our attention. But we're trying to make it easy for parents. We start school on a Thursday. And if you remember, our high school's a block schedule. So Mondays and Wednesdays are last Friday, where all classes meet. Just to ensure we have an equitable amount of time with all of our students in that first week, we're going to pause. And Friday is an A day, so they have a full amount of time with all their teachers that very first week of school. So that's just yet on whether they'll return these forms to. I don't know if it will be during advisory or our first and fifth period teachers. We wanted you to have a copy, and that will be added on there. So there should be clear directions for parents. Also, it's a lot. There's a lot of information in there. Used throughout the year in returning their forms. There's some confidential information in there. So if they don't get it all completed at the open house. Oh, the second one, excuse me. Our second open house is on Tuesday. And we're trying to stagger it so that we're providing juniors and seniors may just want to come get their schedule. We know that. And maybe pass through really quick. I don't know. But we've allowed a time in there from 11:30 on Tuesday, and then we're staying again for all students. It's open for all students in the evening, 9, 12, or any 7th and 8th grader that didn't meet it on.
I have a question, but I want to say thank you for putting all this to Dr. Langley. Both of you, I mean, this is incredibly organized.
Probably the first meeting.
Thank you.
It started, we had a plan and we just followed through on it. Can I say that really quick? Since I met you, some of you I haven't met totally yet, but since I met you, we've hired 13 people at the high day after you hired me. Because we wanted to get the very best for our high school. And so thank you very much. But I'm really special day because it's an adult first day of school, so to speak. So I'm really excited about that. So that's another thing. We are really pumped about some of the changes that we're bringing forward for students at the high school. And one of them, you may have seen, to accelerate and offer an honors and accelerated math pathway that bridges over with the elementary school all the way through. So we're building ready for advanced placement, for concurrent credit opportunities, but it has to start here, and we have to really beef them up in those programs. But the neatest thing is if they can sit right here in this environment and get college credit and it count for high school credit. Big beginning for a kid on a college transcript. And just about everything you do through NWAC transfers, it's a transferable credit. So if they don't stay. Any questions about the math? Okay, can I tell them about archery? Okay, the other two programs, like I really got excited that opportunities to maybe hook some kids and help engage kids who love the arts, didn't want to be big in the sports or team sports, but they loved it. Have those opportunities to take those courses. It's upper level in limited seating, but they're going to be able to do mountain biking and archery as we've already filled one up. Well, yeah, the archery is very limited because, you know, it's, you can imagine. It's really going to help with this is him and his wife have the quiver. So he's going to be amazing. And so we also Then when we interviewed him, when I said, would you have any interest in helping develop this? And he did. Oh, he's going to be really, really good. And he just lives right here in Roger. So really excited about that and very excited about the mountain biking piece too. So we have a lot of great resources here and would love to see them put. Okay,
Archery, sorry, at the EMS campus?
Yes.
yes, and this is a bridge. This will help make that connection because we out. Aren't you glad I didn't print the whole student handbook? So I thought I would just highlight. I'm talking about.
Thank you.
Okay, so one of the things that we needed was a process and this, this is online. And once we have it perfected, we'll flip it for the 23-24 school year. But I want process that we've defined for that. It includes a form that the students will actually have to meet with their parents. I don't like my schedule. It's helping them understand what's the state requirement. Many of them, they don't understand that. I had a really interesting phone call the other day. For electives, he really does. The problem is the state wants us to teach certain things in 8th grade and we have to, or we don't prepare them. So I said, well, Mom, you may want to be thinking about guitar or robotics. Because it's going to be, you're going to have some choices. And that's where our counselors will come in. All those great opportunities and they just want half a day of that. And I don't blame them. That they have to do the other pieces as well. So we're going to have a little process.
Are you presenting these for us to approve tonight, or is it gonna be, you want us to do
Yeah,
that
and
next time?
as she was talking, I was thinking the same thing. The
Yes, so if you guys have questions, now is the time to.
So in your packet, your back to school packet is a sample there. That's linked here. That would be linked on the handbook. So you can peek at that. And then I'll flip on over. You can look at that. This is the act. And she talked about it a little bit, added in the graduation requirements of community service diploma and the credits that build around. And just, made it fit and read nicely here for parents. But it's basically word for word, right out of the LEARNS Act. What hours of service learning credits and when that will actually, what cohort of seniors will that stop with, which is the 25-26 year. Sometimes they do that. They phase out what it's going to look like for a group when they're starting something new with an incoming cohort of kids. So the bottom half of that is what it looks like. That is a graduation requirement. So that's not an arts academy dream. This is what's spelled out for the whole state. Just some,
Now, one question.
yes.
It says the community service shall be in programs or activities approved by the State Board of Education. To approve things in addition to what the state approves. What I'm thinking there is we're an art school, so we may have. Hey, this applies, this is community service, but it applies to artful learning or whatever. Can we add that to their list?
site-based decision.
Okay.
So as we get further along in this process, and that's one of the things that Ms. McDowell will help where those opportunities are. And this is a great opportunity also for the board to help us with that. Like if you have connections that will benefit a certain will vote to approve this particular list, and it might be ongoing. I mean, it's just new for all of us, and the department again has yet to really decision.
So we think the state will recognize it if we voted.
Because every school is different in different locations, so we're not gonna. We don't have that, but we have APT theater and we have things that we know our students will benefit from.
I agree with you. I think it'd be very personalized. Partners that want to be service providers after they learn about what a great opportunity this is for others, but they may give us, I hope they give us some rules here to use that. But anyway, there's that. And the last page is just simply adding up a little more professionalism. Right, at our graduation ceremony. So just a little bit more in there. Reflecting on maybe learning. And that's really about it. We will add the other pieces that she talked about that have to be in there, in law and
Something in the packet about the schedule changes so parents understand they have 10 days to fill out the form.
yes, it's on the form and it has directions on it. It's actually just a form in there and it's also available online for them.
Have you guys addressed what it's going to look like for this
Form for that. Okay, so they will be working with the counselors to ensure that they have met all the requirements, including their art electives with us. And if they schedule.
Are we going to put that in the student handbook about?
No, because it's really a case by case thing.
Like we've had enough issues in the past with that to just literally put the line in that says case by case must be approved by parent.
Immediately alarmed by that is because the seniors have a whole different meeting and they have a whole different schedule with the counselor. There is a quick addition.
My concern is I know that we've had a parent in the past say, you didn't tell us we couldn't.
Yeah, it's addition.
Well, to tell you how far we are on that, we've identified the handful of kids who don't have a full schedule, and she already has the list up. They don't. We're also making sure we schedule those NWAC events, even if they're driving to NWAC for a course. With our staff that's teaching for NWAC here on site, but we're making sure that we fill that schedule up as much as possible so that we secure want to make sure we get all the funding we can. And then the little rascals that don't need anything else, let them go. If they're a senior. But it's really a small handful, so thank y'all.
Thank you.
Should we take a moment to vote on this?
Or is this the only part that's changed?
These are just the additions,
Yeah,
corrections.
okay.
I move to approve the changes we have in our. Anybody opposed? Great. Just if you make changes that are literally.
Absolutely.
So we can make sure we get those.
Yep.
Resolved.
Absolutely.
All right.
And we do have the asterisk that stuff
Yes,
comes and goes,
yes.
we might need
That's a very good point.
several
Yes.
iterations.
Yes. All right, Ms. Carruthers?
So you guys have not had the opportunity to meet Dr. Erin McGar. She is my assistant principal. She was not able to be here at the last board meeting that was nights, sometimes weekends, to get ready this year. And I have been absolutely thrilled to have. And it worked.
Well, I am very honored to be here. Thank you, Dr. Roberts, and thank you, board, for having faith in me and Ms. Brett. This year. I'm just here to chime in. We have a lot going on at the elementary right now.
There's a lot. So so we have transformation in all the things. We have some transformation in our walls because we've got a really fantastic paint job. We are very, very green, right? When you walk in, it is very clear. We have a lot of opportunity for green screen. So whenever you have a chance to come by, please do. It looks great. We have also been working very hard on our packet. It's very similar to last year. I have a copy if you'd like to see it, but it's very, very similar. We have big roundabout. We have all of our after-school programs that pick up from our school coming. We have some community partners that Ms. Schober has contacted.
Chanel.
Yes, Chanel. I can never remember Chanel.
Rogers Public Library, and we're reaching out to Millwood, the RAC.
Programs that we have that are led by our arts teachers in there as well. But we will have a pretty informal come and we will be meeting parents. And our first one is on Monday from 5 to 6. That's our kindergarten picnic where hot dog grill, and they will be grilling those for us for that evening. And then on the 15th, we have fourth and sixth from 5:30 to 6:30. So we're pretty quick. We are going to have parents not pick up, but we'll. We've been incredibly purposeful about placing all of our students in every single class. And so there has been a lot of balancing and looking and trying to make sure that we have the right kids in the right place with the right peers. Is that in 5th and 6th grade, instead of rotating by homeroom, they will be mixing a little bit, I mean, as much as you can mix 4 classes to go to each of their reduce some drama that we had quite a bit of last year. I think that they've been together for 6 years. I think that it's nice for them to see it. Pull out groups, we can put some kids together. So it's easier to push in and pull out, but they are not together all day. So we'll keep our heterogeneous grouping. Are doing a rotation with their essentials classes. And I sent out some information through Thrill Share earlier this summer about that. We have had quite a bit of a deeper level of some of those essentials classes. And we are in building our bridge, that we are building opportunity to come to the high school in the mornings at 7:15 and most likely day. So after the first couple weeks of school, when we are a little settled, we will put out flyers. I'm sorry.
So audition.
Yes, audition. what's happening. And Ms. Kessler will be managing the high school side of that over here for us. But we will have a high school teacher that will be teaching. Then we'll put them on a bus, bring them back over to the elementary. We've worked our master schedule around so that fifth grade has and SEL classes and then library within it. So those kids would miss a portion of that every day, but they wouldn't miss any. Will make sure they will be getting to all of their core classes each day, those kids that are in the program. I do not know the scope of the program yet because it really depends on who. Yes, space. Yes, so we are really excited about that possibility. And I think it will really provide really see what it's like to take some classes that they'll be in the next year and hopefully improve some retention possibilities as well because they
Leave a little bit of pain from the parents that didn't like the rotation.
well, they don't know about it yet.
Oh.
I haven't had much negative feedback about that yet. So people are quiet with families already, just kind of giving them a whole bunch of information about all the things that are happening. And I'll be continuing those throughout. I was talking about the law about third grade and retention if they're not on reading level. So we have in for K1, 2, and 3, they all, instead of having deeper instruction on, we actually have an hour every day for that. And our second and third grades are together. Grades to get some second graders that are more advanced and third graders that are needing some lower level skills, they can do that. And they can kind of use that expertise of all of those second and third graders. Single kid is on grade level and reading by third grade.
Great job with that master schedule.
It is, yeah, it's a beast, man, but we are just hoping that it will work perfectly and we'll all love it. And also fifth grade and sixth grade has scheduled recess every day. The older grades most of them have it broken up into like 20-minute sections because 40 minutes in a row outside for some older kids can. Because that transition time takes so much time out of whatever it is they're doing. So it'll be good for the kinders and first to run around for 40 minutes straight. So. Beginning new things. Oh, yes. So we're having a kindergarten woohoo breakfast. In the very first day in the cafeteria, Charity is helping us with that. Muffins, juice, and coffee. So they can nostalgic and a little sad that their baby is in kindergarten, but they can meet each other, talk to each other. Hopefully they can even meet with some parents who've been through this. Questions and just so they can feel a little more comfortable leaving their kid for the first time at a big K-6 school. So,
and our wonderful
society that she'll share with the parents, and she and I are working on making a one-pager with those tips and some other upcoming events that they need to know about.
Great. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Charity, got some good stuff for us?
For the principals too, so they know what I'm talking about. the packet.
It's not in an envelope.
No, thank
So last year hit child nutrition very, very hard all across the state with going from COVID. Arkansas itself is 30 million with unpaid meals. Our school is in that 30 million, but that we have in our district. So this first one, you'll see that we are at 21% of collections. We've retained 21%. Emailing parents, helping them set up their My Payments Plus. The pages here, you will see that this is the next page is a generic form that is emailed to the parents that I email them, letting them know this is how.
Is there a, like, you're $10 over, so this triggers that notification or?
So it is set up like that. And I can act like you and go into your My Payments Plus and re-amp that. So that's what I've been doing. At $10, you're 1,000 children that I have to go through and manually do it, but I'm doing it. So we're getting it.
No, why? Choosing no time to do that.
Well, it's the parents that are changing it. So parents have full access to set it up any way they want.
At what point do?
How we're not gonna be in this.
We're not doing this. So currently, the debt follows you. It rolls over every year. It follows you. We are giving the parents, since this is a new thing after COVID, everybody got hit, we are going to when your child starts eating this year, I can keep track. Once you hit that $5 mark, I'm calling you automatically. And I'm going. Yes, but they still owe it. It's going to be a fee.
It shows in a different spot.
It's going to show in a different spot so we can keep track that last year, your name. This one, so. This paper shows like what I say when I call. I'm actually calling. $20 a month. That's a promise that you're making to the district, and I expect you to make that $20 a month. Also prompted better results than I thought, because I'm not going to ahead myself. Back in February, sorry. We would like you to pay for every child's meal. We want free meals all across the board. They said no. They said Arkansas does not have food insecurity. Right now, standing here, 167,000 children in Arkansas cannot afford a lunch meal. So. That we cannot turn a child away. If your child comes through the lunch line, they get a reimbursable meal. Here at the high school, that is. They get a meal regardless. Parents get charged. They do not get a la carte. They do not get an extra milk. They do not get anything other there, because you cannot stigmatize them either. I was the kid that had the yellow token because I got free meals in elementary school, and everybody knew I had it because I handed it. The cafeteria worker running the thing, if you're negative 600, she does not look at you and say, you need to pay me. She tells me, I go call the parent.
we are not poverty stricken, right? But we now have reduced equals free. They said, if you qualify for reduced meals, you know, it's going to increase our participation. A lot of the balances are from reduced families. But this So the state is going to reimburse us for the meals that we buy for the reduced students. Apply for this because now it's free. It's no longer 40 cents for lunch. It's free. Everybody loves free, right? Like people submitting them. I have flyers everywhere, all different kinds. I think you've seen them on the internet. All different colorful ones. It's lunch. Also, showing them how to use My Payments Plus. Like, you have to know how to set it up, and it's on My Payments Plus. You also can pay for prom tickets and dance tickets and yearbooks and parking passes. It's all through My Payments Plus.
Yes. On the My Payments Plus, is there an option that they could allow us for, if someone wanted to donate extra, paying for something else for their student?
Yes, so currently, I'm so thankful for some of these parents, like people have been donating. So that's where we can keep track though, because I need to know if the 200 is given, I need to be able to go through and distribute it evenly, and then our financial advisor. For parents.
Let's talk about that process.
One more question. Is there still a fee for the?
If you send a check or cash.
Oh yeah, I'm.
And you can.
I've been sending. I've been giving Haley every month, like you're.
Fee, that's what that is. So. What was it?
What did the PTA?
1,400. The next is informing the parents of prices for breakfast and lunch. Actually is. The prices, it lets them know extra items are an extra charge. If the kid does not have money, and always contact me if you need help setting up an account. I keep putting that everywhere. My email address is everywhere. So you
automatically.
Every Friday, I'm pulling up the negative balance.
Is there not a way, a setting on?
There is. And I kick that out, and on Monday, you go through and change it to $25. My Payments Plus will send you $25. I'm sending you $5. I can.
Yeah.
But My Payments Plus is, My Payments Plus is the front side that the parents see. Her right. Like mass emails. It's the My Payments Plus. If you're not looking for my email and you're waiting for My Payments Plus, you control that. So.
Names on this flyer, this seems a little confusing.
So it's on every single thing that. This is the grab and go, and it shows the sandwich meals, $4. Meals include fruit, vegetables, and milk. The salads, because they'll have grab-and-go salads also. Meals include fruit, grain, and milk. That is reimbursable. If a child gets a sandwich and does not grab a fruit, it's going to be go grab a red. Red will be fruit. This weekend, I hope. I'm hanging up everything. That's what I'm hoping for.
Sorry, Brooke. So if for kids who maybe
They do not have to take milk. The only thing that a child has to take for lunch for a reimbursable meal is 3. Take a meat and a grain and then a fruit. That's a reimbursable meal. Okay. So sometimes I know parents are like, there was nothing on their tray. Well, they had a half a cup of fruit. That is all legally we have to give them. We offer more.
They just don't.
They just choose not to take it. But if they don't eat it, it goes to the share table, it goes to Nurse Katie. So it'll go to her. So if a child is still hungry, they can go to Nurse Katie and ask for as long as it's legal and wrapped and not touched. You're welcome. Menus. For September, currently done, but I didn't put it in here. The menus also have QR codes for the meal application and online. It does not look crowded because I put the daily offerings that never change down at the bottom. So that way when you look at the menu, you are seeing you're going to get a milk and you're going to get this and you're going to get that. So you'll see the hot line. That is the hot food line. The grab and go. And we were working on vegetarian options. Currently right now, Mondays are meatless Mondays for the hotline. So if a child and here. High school, theirs is a little bit different. They have lots of options because they are big kids. We have split up the cafeteria. We have a very small area back there. If you guys have been through there, you see it's just a little nacho bar, a pizza bar, and then the hot bar, like that switches every day. Meatless Mondays, Taco Tuesdays, Global Cuisine Wednesdays. Rotate every 6 weeks. Wednesday, their first Wednesday back in school, they're having Hawaiian poke bowls, so yeah. Yes, so this screen back here will actually have the menu going across it with a QR code where they can scan it and say, because we are trying to reduce waste. She said in the beginning how we learned a lot of things during the departure. And as a chef and a mother, I was like, oh my God, oh my gosh. So you will start seeing a lot more fresh items. You'll have to use certain items. However, fresh items last longer and I can't do waste. So but then you can go look at Wednesday and might see rice being served again. Because I have the ingredients for trying to buy in bulk, less waste. Let's have good food without breaking the budget.
Ever about partnering like with our campus nurses and other people about the a la carte item?
there's a lot of junk on the a la carte options.
Here's the à la carte items. They are all reduced. Everything served has to be approved by the government. It's part of Smart Snacks. The high school has more options. They're not the real Chips Ahoy chocolate chip cookies. You know, everything is on there. So what you don't see on here the overnight oats that will be part of that. More healthier options that are considered, they're not on there because they're considered grab that. That's a reimbursable meal. That's why it's not on the a la carte, but it will be with the a la carte items. So it has the fruit, the options. We added hard-boiled eggs and cheese sticks and all that because we have students who are diabetic. They can't have not just cereal, and it's not just a muffin served with toast, which was a big thing last year, and I didn't understand it. So high school, same thing with their menus though. And breakfast, you know, so let's have some spinach egg bites, some sausage egg bites, the vegetarian option, you know. I talked to Dr. Roberts. Poor kids eat breakfast. And I'm gonna cry. I don't want that. So if I can wrap up a breakfast sandwich to look, that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm sorry. See?
So because of our poverty level, we don't serve breakfast like at elementary K.
We're changing because our schedules are different, like our classes and everything. High school is gonna have breakfast available to breakfast. Over at K6, I think we talked 8:30, 7:30 to 8:30. If we need to push it till 9, we'll push it to 9. But not everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we gotta believe that you and Haley are gonna feed whatever kid walks in.
Well, we are.
That's
If a kid walks. And so we will make changes as we go. We just want it to where if a kid comes in here hungry, they're getting fed. And they're not getting fed a cinnamon roll and be sent on your way.
Right? Doing all the things to use it. Are we allowed to use any of the weekend meals or anything like that for our kids that need it?
There's not going to be any waste. Every child will be fed.
Are we allowed to use
Fed.
on breaks and stuff? Are we still able to offer?
So we do summer meals.
Okay.
I close during intersessions, but I don't know if there's some kind of thing, since we are a charter school, that we can figure out if we can still serve during intersessions.
Requirement, you know, getting kids on grade level. We can get snacks and have those available for kids when they're after school tutoring. So like a class, we offered something that we could demonstrate enrollment, we probably could make that happen.
Yeah, as long.
Yeah, because regardless of what the state says about Arkansas not having food inspection.
I see it all the time, and I'm like, yeah, no. Step so far, so, yeah, sorry. Didn't mean to get emotional.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charity.
Awesome work.
Follow that. Following the dress. So as Dr. Roberts was saying, it's the last day before everything, and so like I said, I followed the tie-dye, so I knew I better dress appropriately. Share with you, the arts integration is going to be pretty phenomenal for a big reason I'm going to tell you about in just a second. But for a donation. So very tragic for us in the art field that a local artist, Glenda, self-taught artist, worked in a lot of different media that was what I would call arts integration. So different things that had massive amounts of things of just sharing and teaching with individuals, self-taught, doing all these things. So all of her Rogers. And because we have worked so well with the City of Rogers and Kenya Christian, I don't know if you know Kenya locally, she has teachers giving master classes. She said, I know exactly what school this needs to go to. And she contacted us. And so, a few kinds of things. 5 of my truckloads later, did we bring all of this over. And I was and so we now do not have to write an arts integration grant for this. And we also don't have to be looking for a lot of different arts. We have a lot that's going to fashion design and creative writing. So it was a really for giving this extraordinary gift. And so I just wanted to let you know.
What are we gonna do to kind of honor?
So, and I love that the elementary kind of have this in. She would do these pressed flowers, and there's just so many opportunities to kind of work with us. So it's going to be pretty. The other great, amazing thing about arts integration is I mentioned to you right before we left that we had hired an individual. Especially with Artful Learning, as we are now going full steam ahead with that. That does require a with all of the teachers to set up and document. And as we are in dialogue with Artful Learning and wanting this to be not just Artful Learning, we're going to need a lead. And so we were able to find an amazing individual. I'd like to introduce you to Kate. Comes to us. She's going to tell her a little bit about herself, but I have to brag on her a little bit because we had some fantastic candidates. Not only has she been in the education field for 17 years, off and on, we have the same kind of background. You did other things. And not necessarily the arts. And so she independently wanted to go into arts integration and learn about it. Contacted Baltimore and enrolled in Susan Riley. Susan Riley is like a goddess, an individual I looked up to. And when I was doing all a rigor in her certification program, I actually went through it and I didn't pass. I didn't pass because I had 3 through this and was trying to contribute to the wonderful community of Bentonville and probably did quite a bit.
So I'm Katie Ballard. Position to me. I feel like this is my dream job. I feel like I taught in a big district with what I was seeing in public education. And 2 years ago, I had gone through the program with I knew that's what I wanted. In my college background, I have a degree in humanities and Spanish literature. Certification. So I'm certified in the classroom, 1st through 8th grade, all subject areas. I also have my ESL. So I do come from the content. I've taught every grade level, 2nd through 8th, all content areas. Not taught kindergarten and 1st grade because I would just want to rock them and be their grandmother. But I'm excited because a deep passion that it is through the engagement in the arts that we're going to engage our children in learning and teach them those 21st century skills. And in my own personal children, I have 2 very business, mathematically minded children, and I have one child who is going to go gets us through. And I'm excited to be the connection with artful thinking, and I'm excited to show that content. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Last thing I want to let you know. We are going to be having a lot more involvement. Erin Whiteman, who's kind of over this, we are actually going to really spectacular is the Music Depot just is now opening right down there, catty corner from the Rogers. Exceptional. On Thursday, if you happen to be here, they're going to have kind of a little soft opening. It's going to be a music venue. Things that we do have that we have our kids perform outside, and it's always kind of rain conditions that we're like, oh, we hope it doesn't rain. Now we're going to have
Done? That's some. In the public? I did not receive any emails to that effect. Okay, excellent. Next. An opportunity to look at the minutes. And does anyone have any comments about the financials?
We're hoping next month you'll see kind of what, we have to have the board report in our packet, and that's have a better, easier to view report coming where it's like this month's actuals. Unless they change it, Dr. Roberts, we do have to approve the new budget by September 30th, right? So at our next meeting, we'll have to review.
Yes.
And then from there, she'll be able to load that budget, sign off on that, everything. So nothing.
A motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second? Second. All right, all in favor? Aye.
So moved.
Second. Okay. All in favor? Aye. All. Anything that we need to talk about? Shall we go over the enrollment reports? Allison, do you have anything to tell us?
To push out recruitment. I think, as always, our elementaries are more solid. Some of the things that will help with our recruitment is some of the changes we've made to our programming, some of the academia pieces. Staff, once that gets out a little bit, we've hired some incredible, amazing professionals for our arts program.
Love what you guys are doing on social and
New ones first, and then we'll work on, the goal is that we celebrate our teachers consistently.
Yeah. I would love to keep seeing that for
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah. Our new staff. I also not sure the parents are where we potted the 7th and 8th. Decision was made in the past to split them up and just mix them out amongst the whole campus. And that was of concern to 7th grade parents. So they're now just maturation, just some of that behavior. And then, we continue to work on.
We have obviously a lot of new hires, and I don't know if you want.
The additions on here, it's not necessarily a new person. What we decided to do with our adjuncts, which we call so they're actually now considered part-time. That was sort of a workplace ethical decision on apply for, or they could receive as a part-time person versus just hourly. So we were able to kind of track the hours that they worked in. And some dental and things like that. So they show up on this list as if they're new, but actually this adjunct to part-time, they are still. Custodial staff, some of our kitchen staff, they're new. We're owning those services and I have to say, at least I've been extremely impressed with some of the replacement staff that we've. Principal have done a great job interviewing, and we've got a really solid team. Probably, I would say the best.
Laney.
Yes, yes. And with the coaches, we knew that we needed to work on those skill gaps. We have where their skill gaps are reduced. So the addition of coaches had us have vacancies at. Unfortunately, had some staff leave, and everyone has families that they have to make decisions for. And so closer to their family, or they're closer to their commutes.
How many empty spots do
Before
Yeah.
school starts.
They've been working really hard. Now, knock on wood.
Have y'all been drowning?
we lost our dyslexia interventionist?
Yes, so
Okay.
we've got a different plan with dyslexia, and it's going to be much more comprehensive. If parents want to continue on with Take Flight, we will provide Ms. Lundeen space to do that. But we're not going to do Take Flight on a regular basis at the elementary school. It takes too much pull from their content area, and the new program that all the other surrounding districts are using.
All right. You want to tell us about the
Side talking. Already got a lot of stuff that's booked on.
Oh, okay.
I think so. I'm so sorry, you guys might, what I moved. So if you remember last year, we were applied to be in this cohort. It was funded from the potential to grow. And so we applied, we got in, we were one of 4. It was myself, Jamie, and but really committed to the process. And so we started in January and we met every single week. We also learned about other charter operations, the other 3 schools. It was very, very informative. And so with that, through this look like, how would we grow our organization? Knowing that we've got competition coming, knowing that we currently have a very unique surrounding. So we went in knowing with that. I think I have it on, Ellen. Had the little red light going. Hit it. Maybe I was put up the computer. Okay, Ellen, you might be my advance.
I don't mind.
Thank you. So all of these are individual links into the content of this PowerPoint. So they looked at our financials. Like, what is our potential for success and growth? You could go. So pulling kids from 50-mile radius, we know that we have an expanding impact. We know that our elementary school right now is our most solid majority of our students. We have some inconsistencies of why they leave 6th grade and if they come to 7th grade. K-5 that we knew was successful. We also know that we need to have we've been working on the bridges and how do we unite the families to make it a seamless decision, but also the learning process. To 12th grade. And so we really began to look at why we do what we do and the successes. Arts Academy do it through arts integration. We know that we reach a pocket of kids that we are committed to having them have all. We are offering them this unique opportunity. We're a choice school. And so really, why are people choosing to come here? And are we doing all we're doing to make us unique? And a lot of other charter schools, we know that a lot of charters use lottery systems. And so what again makes us stand out and how do we bring the kids that are just our neighborhood kids as well? Are we only relying on these extremitor kids, or are we really servicing pattern on student enrollment? So we'll also begin to look at the history of the school, which I found was kind of interesting. So some of it's terrifying information that when I learned, I try to put it in a deep reservoir in my mind. When the charters accepted the application, a charter panel and Department of Ed accepted the channel and the application, we got acceptance. And then the funding for the remodel, and then COVID. And so we looked at, and does the school's reputation, where does that also parallel with that whole history? And what do we do? Presented this to stakeholders or potential funders, would they understand our mission and could we justify what we do? K-12, and then we've been looking at all of our arts integration experiences connected to solid content. Academic requirements through our experiences, and if not, are we providing teachers with the resources to make sure? And that was another whole conversation, is like, how do we ensure parents that by coming or they want to be able to demonstrate mastery different ways, are our teachers providing that support? We want to enhance their brain development. We know the right brain, left brain. We know all these things about the arts. Beginning model. But in addition to arts integration, we also put in artful learning, because that is the piece that we began to add in. We had to have a common framework and strategy so all teachers knew how to do it at the same level of understanding, but so with the success, we've talked about artful learning before, with the success of artful learning, what we are entering into the second. We know already based on some early data that the engagement piece is high. Now what we're tracking also is attendance. And what teachers are starting in year 2 is really knowing how to wrap it around their core content. So exploring what these different art experiences could look like. But now year 2 is, okay, here's my ELA content. Here's my an arts experience or a common arts image, a masterpiece, and make it sort of this comprehensive learning. Son or daughter was in first grade and they're going through all these years with all this great experience, all this exposure to the arts, the community. Like they're going to hit a drop if we don't do something to prepare them for the next step. We already know that what does 7th and 8th grade look like in a high school? And how do we retain our kids so they We got the K-6 funding from the Walton Family Foundation. We wrote a grant, which helps pay for the learning. It's so comprehensive and it's so in person and it's such a commitment. So the next step is to grade teachers and our arts teachers. So now we're creating, all right, we've expanded our pathway there. Of this artful learning. There's not an artful learning district in the nation. We would be the first. What has they animal? You've got teachers in silos, you've got teachers that sort of have their autonomy they like and they don't want to sort of follow. Now, it will look very differently in high school than it does elementary because it's just who they are. But to have a consistent mechanism that all of our how they want to teach, it's just a framework, a methodology. So that's beginning of what from K-12. So the artful learning kind of bases itself on this concept that kids will experience sort of deep thinking, that depth of knowledge. They're going to, with that, create something, and then they're going to reflect on what they made. Thinking, reflecting, experiencing, questioning, all those things that we know are what builds your brains to capacities that you can of a subject area. And it's not just particular one isolated, cup of knowledge. It's how it applies to the real world. So with this, we would have basically a 9-year span that we're training staff. So we would have, they offer support if they need to address anything. So with the 5-6 training, we would also be able to get in
Train the trainer, a trainer.
So the K-6 would be, they would kind of be this, I forgot the term. The K-6 would be a legacy, meaning that the whole body has been trained for 3 years. But, staff come and go. We'll have that 3-year. And the same thing would happen. So ideally, we would have a level of support that would. The great thing about this is we've had such tremendous success in year 2 that reaching back out to apply for a continuation grant with the data. And when we've had the follow-ups for the grant, we've had them come out and look at what we're working on. It's been nothing but just amazing. The group entity itself is very excited about just this possibility of us being able to manage this. Aaron and on the way, like this is the mecca of where we could, have this kind of training, and they were just so amazing about the potential. So our student success profile, you guys, know this. We want to encourage all this well-rounded, confident, creative, curious. Model. So if we're going to try to do this model school, we want it to be a replicable version of a charter. What is it that we are saying? Construction, rigorous aligned curriculum, community partnerships, and we want to be this inclusive community. And we do sort of caveat through all of our instruction and all our support mechanisms. So then we developed. So we know right now, since 17, we've been on that flux of an A-B school. And so we want to be in the A. We all want to say the where we are right now and not get any lower. That's why we developed the strategic plan that we talked earlier in May about. We want to hit the kids want to be here. Like, we also want to be the place that kids want to be, and not for the wrong reasons, but for the right reasons, that we are this environment that they. Student growth population in Northwest Arkansas and our student growth over time, and are we reaching out to minority communities? Are we inclusive? To be more inclusive. Our goal is that anybody that walks in and is interested in this art, we're addressing that increase of minority by increasing our minority staff, reaching out to the community, providing things in multiple languages. That we do not belong to. And so if we look at a long-range plan, we have no space. So we can't just say we need more kids, let's get more students, but we have no place to put them. Thus the module some way in order for us to get more students. But we don't want to grow so fast that we defeat our purpose. At that A range, or we have 85% of our students meeting grade level, that we are recognized, which we've already gotten that milestone. Huge. And that we serve our community. So how are we involving our community partnerships? How are we reaching out to other organizations? So with the growth we're looking at, can we enhance a model that will provide this truly integrated experience to meet the demands of this choice offering? Sorry, I keep pointing at you. I don't mean to develop positive relationships, and we want to have a governance model such as you that strengthens excellent place in all three of those things. Are we perfect in positive relationships? No, but our social emotional learning pieces and them comfort in knowing that there's avenues that they can communicate with. With our new counseling program, we're making major milestones. And our dedication and literacy and all those things, again, we're set on the right track. So how does it? And if we look at over the next 10 years, what is the launch part? What does execute look like? How are we phasing? Competition's essential. Are we making the strides in flow that we're going with the flow of the versus against? Enrollment. You know, the enrollment we know at the elementary school is consistent. It fluctuates a little bit, but if we expand, most solid recommendation is we pull out and we make a middle school. So we pull out grades 5, 6, separate middle school environment. What that would also do is allow us to not very much increase Also add a pre-K. Not only do we, if we add a pre-K in, do we get the full growth span? But that's a whole different realm of funding that we would enter into. And there's not a whole lot of pre-K. And when you capture those early learners, you guys know as parents, they are so engaged in making and doing, and you teach them so much. And so we look at, what does that trajectory look like? Could we really then begin to scaffold approach to enrollment and retention? So with the sure we continue to align this program and we stay the course on this bold vision. We want to make sure all of our annual plans with our academics and student success and all that is applied to this vision. Like everything is aligned in going exactly. We develop this comprehensive talent, like the staffing, the teacher retention, that we are having teachers but also are we supporting them in a way that they want to stay? And then, and that same thing is, are we experience has given them something at the end? And parents feel the same way too. Like when they leave at 12th grade, do they feel like they only do so much, but are we really preparing them to think creatively and be really innovative adults? So we have some initiatives on like how to get this started, and I kind of put, and you guys will have a copy of this, so I won't read every word for word, but some of the things in we're going to work on revising the school mission statement, and that's going to happen in this fall. It's not that we need to redo it so much, it's that we need everybody to buy into the process of where it originated from. Like, I don't even know who those individuals were that actually worded that. And smithing like 3 adjectives and it takes forever. Like really owning everyone playing up and knowing that this is. Yeah. And if you were to say, okay, what's your mission? Say an elevator, I couldn't even tell you what it is. So anyway, so kind of looking programs, do we want to tie our plans to a strategy, and we want to develop this talent, and we want to, retain staff. What are our resource needs? Like what do we need to get to that point? And so we know expand the support kind of almost in the middle. And then also we'll need some additional staff. We're just moving their location. And with all the training involved, that will just be the 7th and 8th. They will be conducted through this program and this training of this implementation of the artful learning. That will be the we address all their skill gaps. They are prepared to enter 9th grade, hopefully on track. And that middle ground, because if you're not on track at 8th grade, it's super hard hill to climb. And resilience to maintain the struggles to get to that point where they could actually be back on grade level at night. Head count, and we're trying to calculate. And again, all this work we did, it was a lot of hard work. It was or what are we doing that makes some staff leave? Or, there's a lot of conversations, and then being in dialogue with other charter. I do. It's incredible. I mean, so it's like, how do we manage the growth, and would we this is the part that we're pulling out our own. And so then, we begin to really think and I think, when you say you are a school and you believe in this, it's one thing. It's completely different. And you will have staff, and it's normal, begin to fall out of the mechanism of wanting to be there because it's fine. I mean, it's a transition statement, but how do we ensure that we've got the right staff that want to stay in this lane of learning? Financially, can we make this happen? Like, what would be the finance part? We know that we would have some initial output as far as space. Yes. And then what kind of philanthropic needs would we have? We will have some. We shore up and we become solid on what we offer and offer something that's unique. And so it almost comes hand in hand. That is the piques the interest, and now all of a sudden we're beginning to involve the internships, the partnerships, and the organizations that want to step in. So this additional details on kind of how this would phase out and what the years would look like. So that was another phrase that we learned through this process. What's the green light? When do you know that you're ready? So, the no-go is, okay, we're not ready. We're not ready. Have enough teacher retention. We don't have enough effective teacher retention. There's a difference between a teacher retention and the highly effective. So we talked about those three areas of knowing when we were ready to grow, which is what I went off of when we talked about the strategic plan. We've got every step we're doing with our academics, attendance, all those things. How are we getting to that green? This was the matrix that we looked at with our school improvement plan, just sort of the support network of what we set with that. So these are also aligned to our growth. So are we doing all the academics, arts integration, electives, all? And this is, just talking about the mitigation strategy. So what are we at risk? Our strategic long-range plan, are we at the midst of not getting the funding, or what do we do to mitigate that risk? And develop a comprehensive fundraising plan and all those things to help us mitigate any potential risk we might have. LARN's Act provided us a substantial, solid foundation with this work because they're encouraging charter growth. There's no And so, again, it's just more than the art. So that comprehensive. Looking at our teacher profile, we want highly effective, fresh perspectives, inclusive environment. Sorry, you guys are such a good audience. You're just, and it's so late. I'm so sorry. But I've been excited to share. Feeling like remorseful that it ended because we were just, it was so involved and so great work. And the board approves or feels comfortable with setting us on this journey. The step would be the charter authorizing panel and requesting more student enrollment. And they're going to say, well, you've got openings, you're not at your cap. Area. And then it will be a slow roll and not have all at once, but slow roll. Funding is available. And then figuring out. So our best financially, most wisest decision is to lease a space. Like, and we will gain however many new students we get that much more money, but we need a space that we can house it. Facility and building it out inside. You know, our partners at Hyde Jackson are very creative and innovative, and they'll work within whatever budget we have. And very unique and different, and then allowing that enrollment, entering into pre-K, will be getting in that. So that's how it kind of slows out. It's not an instant process. It would be, you know, a solid suggestion on what a growth mechanism would look like based on what we have.
What a great opportunity to work with Bellwether.
Then we find out Bellwether then went to did some work with APSRC. So we were the first ones to work with them, and they're like, oh, well, they did pretty. Thank you. Do you need us to vote to?
Pursue the suggestions made in the Bellwether roll-up.
Second. All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Since the publication of the agenda. I would like to congratulate Dr. Roberts for being nominated.
Thank you. It's a team effort. I could not do it without this team, a team effort. And
I will take a motion to adjourn.
second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?